Hey guys, it's Cass. Today we're going to do a clipper care tutorial. I'm going to show you guys how to care for your clippers, take them apart, and also how to realign the blades. Okie dokie. Before we get started, I'm going to show you guys a couple of the tools that I'm using today and the tools that you'll need. Okay, so I do have Clippercide. This is our disinfectant for our clippers. Not only does it disinfect, but it also lubricates as well. The contact time for this is 10 minutes for it to work fully and effectively. So that means that it needs to be on your clippers wet for at least 10 minutes and then you wipe it off, all right? I also have some oil today to oil our shears. I have a clipper cleaning brush. This is a denture brush. So you can go to your local Dollar General and you can get one, all right? And also you will need a screwdriver today, okay? We are going to be working with a Phillips head. Phillips head means, oh, you can't really say it, it won't focus, but it's the 4-prong little guy, not the flat head, but the Phillips head, okay? And obviously you'll need your clippers, okay? So my tripod broke for my camera just this morning, so we're gonna do this old school style, all right? I hope that you're ready. Here we go. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I clean any debris off of my clippers. Visible debris first. We're gonna go ahead and take them apart and clean them. And then we're going to put them together. We are going to realign the blades and then we will oil them, okay? So I also have a towel unfeatured. This towel will come in handy when we have to get on the inside of our blades, okay? So what I'm going to do is take my screwdriver. This is our Phillips head, and it has 4 little ridges on there. I'm gonna place my fingers on top of my blade just because I don't want it to accidentally flip off the table or anything like that when I am working with it. So I'm gonna bring my Phillips head screwdriver in, and I'm going to press slightly. There we go. And I'm going to unwind that just a little bit. You can see that it's a little lifted from the plate. Before I completely remove that, I'm gonna undo the other side as well. I promise I'll get better as we go along. So there's one, and then there's the other. It's important that you keep track of your screws, okay? So make sure that we just kind of put those off to the side. Boop, boop, boop. So now we're gonna go ahead and open this bad boy up. Ew, look at him. Gross. So this is our still blade, right? Our big flat blade. We can see that there's a little bit of hair and debris on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray that with my Clippercide. And I'm gonna wipe it off. And then, oh, my screws. I'm gonna wipe that off. Then I'm gonna go ahead and set that here to the side, and I'm gonna give it a good spray on both sides, and I'm just gonna let that sit, okay? It also has some stuff in there, the Clippercide, to help prevent rust. So now this is my moving blade, okay? It's less than half the size of my still blade, but this is that cutting blade. If you guys feel the different textures of the teeth, you'll see that these are much sharper, okay? So I have a little bit of debris in there, so I'm gonna go ahead and spray it down, and I'm gonna wipe it off, and then I'm gonna set it right below my other blade, give it a spray, give it a spray, okay? So now, here is this guy, okay? So inside, this is our hammer. This is what helps pivot or magnetic motors work, okay? So this is a pivot. You guys can see this guy goes back and forth, and there's a long stem inside of here. So if we opened up the front plate, which I do not recommend, I've ruined many clippers that way. This is where the brain of the clippers lives, okay? Like the skeletal system and the brains of the clipper, okay? So if you mess with this, you're gonna start getting some weird nervous tics inside of your clipper, okay? So my pivot or hammer is here. You guys will see that inside there is a little foamy guy, okay? So what this foam guy does is he helps cut down on vibration and noise, okay? So it is not, I guess, necessary as a part of a functioning clipper, but it is very helpful just for the aesthetics of your clipper. So I like to use my little screwdriver just to kind of help get that out of here. It does fit around your pivot little hammer. Okay, there we go. So I got that out of there. I'm gonna brush the hair out of there. Now, since this is mechanical, and it has a motor and it involves electricity, when we're cleaning our clippers, we want to make sure that they are unplugged, okay? When we realign the blades, we can absolutely do that with the clipper or trimmer plugged in, but because we are going to be using a disinfectant solution and, possible electricity, go ahead and unplug that. So I'm going to give this a very light spray, and that's about it, because I don't want it to go down inside of the mechanism or anything like that. Just making sure I'm covering all my bases. So now I'm going to set that off to the side, and let's talk about cleaning our little foam piece. So it's pretty simple. Some people can run it underwater and then blow dry it. That's totally fine. I just use my clipper cleaning brush, and I just kind of scrub it a little bit. Give it a little flick here and there. Okay. So now, I know that we've been talking a lot about sanitation and things like that. So some people may choose to remove this from their clippers because it makes them feel as if it's a bit more sanitary. This is a foam product, so what that means is it's porous. So this is made from inorganic material, so we technically could submerge this, but after a few times of being submerged, it's probably not going to be the greatest quality, okay? So what I am going to do is spray this with my clipper side, and I'm gonna put it back into my machine, okay? So I'm gonna turn this towel. Move my pieces. All right. There we go. There's that, and then this guy. Gonna go ahead and give him a spray. That's hilarious. Alrighty. So now, in our perfect world, we have let everything set for our 10 minutes, and we are now ready to go, okay? We've been at it almost 10 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and wipe off the excess clipper side just to make it easier to work with. All right. When we're going back in here, pardon me. When we're going back in here and placing our implements, we need to make sure that we're doing that in a thoughtful manner, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and put my little foam guy on and loop them around. I then use either my screwdriver or my clipper brush to help poke that back down in. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Beep, beep. Just poke her down in there. Get in there. There we go. Perfect. Tucked up in there. Nice and toy. Toy like a Toy-Go. Okay? So now what I need to do, I need to reassemble my blade from the inside out. So I'm going to be taking my moving blade, or my smallest blade, first, okay? I'm going to make sure that the shiny side is down when I put this back on, okay? So I am going to see more of a matte side. Hello. And then on the other side is that shinier side. Hello. Okay? So I put that guy on there. Now, this is going to fit rather well, but it's not going to be a perfect fit. So it's not going to be super snug or anything like that. So don't expect that. Alrighty. Once I have that set, I'm going to go ahead and put my moving blade back on top. Now, this is going to be a longer process than what really anyone wants to deal with, okay? But it's important that you take your time so you get the result that you want, okay? So first what I'm gonna do is drop my screw for luck, and then I'm going to finger tighten. So I'm gonna move that screw with my finger as tight as I can get it with my finger in one of those holes, and then I'm gonna do it with my other as well. So I'm gonna finger tighten that down. Perfect. So if I flip this around and take a look, we can see that the blades are hecka misaligned, right? So I'm gonna try to get those blades pretty well established. I never want my moving blade, which is this blade here, and my still blade is back here. So this is still, this is moving. My moving blade can never be above my still blade. If my moving blade ever exceeds my still blade, like here on this side, if it ever exceeds that, that's when you'll start to get nipping. That's when you'll get those red marks and the rakes down people's necks, okay? So I'm gonna get this pretty nice and close. I do want like the smallest gap between that top area and where my my moving blade is, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is flip this bad boy over. You can see that I've already moved it, perfect. So I'm just going to start slowly tightening. All right, I'm gonna do this from the side. I'm gonna start slowly tightening both of these screws. I don't wanna screw one side down all the way and then screw the other side, because that's going to give me a really weird, pardon me, distribution of weight. And my, it's gonna make setting my blades even harder, okay? So if I flip this back over and take a look, that's actually not too shabby, my friends. But if we take a look right here, if I turn this over to its side and turn it over on its back, I don't think I can get the angle. My moving blade is just, it's like almost in line with my still blade. That won't do, okay? What that's going to do is scratch and bite people. So what I'm going to do is just slightly loosen each of my screws, and I'm going to just slightly adjust where my clipper blade is sitting. Hold that, screw, screw. I'm gonna double tighten and make sure that I get a nice clean test. Take a look again. And we are under, but I'm still not super happy, so I'm gonna do it one more time, just because this deals with vibration, right? And every time our clippers vibrate, they move slightly. So if I don't want to have to be doing this again at like the end of the week, then I need to make sure I get it right the first time. All right, so now we can see that those blades are nice and set. Now this guy is a little offset. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to oil him. And then I'm going to plug them in and I'm going to listen and I'm going to see how those blades move to make sure that everything is lined up, okay? So I'm going to put a little dot here on my end and on this end. Perfect. And then I'm gonna put just a little dot here in the center and I'm gonna work my lever foot up and down, okay? Now, I'm gonna give this just a little spray of clipper side for some extra lubrication, and I'm gonna go ahead and plug him in. Alrighty. So now, when I oil my clippers, I never want to stand them up and down. I always want to make sure that my blades stay facing more towards the ground, just because I don't want that oil and clipper side to run into the motor. All right, so I'm going to turn this bad boy on, and I'm going to work that lever foot in and out, making sure that I distribute all of that beautiful oil. And give it an extra little squirt. Work that in and out. I'm gonna go ahead and turn them off, and I am super happy with where these clippers are sitting. They're pretty much zeroed out. Zeroed out means that they're as absolutely close together as possible without snagging. I could, oh no, we're getting crazy with it. I could go in and I could always push this up a little bit. If I know that I have someone who has coarse hair coming in, I may set this blade a little higher just because that gives my clipper more room to do its job, okay? So a lot of times I'm gonna have zeroed out clippers for my bald fades and things like that, but I have a set of clippers that isn't quite as close. Focus up, come on. Yeah, that isn't quite as close to that cutting edge. Just because if we have coarser hair and more texture, I need more room for that hair to go down and my moving blade to swipe across it. So I get a nice clean cut. All right, so this bad boy is done. Let me show you. For our trimmers, we would do the exact same process. Debriding, giving it a quick little spray, using our screwdriver to loosen up our heads, okay? We would do the same thing. So I'm just gonna show you guys how to set this blade real quick. So I'm going to once again screw in little by little on each side. And then I'm gonna flip her over and check. I'm gonna make sure that since these are T blades, or T-finishers that my blades line up with one another. This is still my moving blade, and this is still my stationary blade or my non-moving blade. I really like how close those are together, so I'm going to hold that down. And I'm just going to tighten and double check, make sure. Wonderful. So as close as those are together, I'm going to get a nice crispy edge. Okie dokie. I would oil and clipper side these the exact same way. A little here, a little there, a little there. And then I'm going to roll this back and forth since it doesn't have a lever foot, okay? Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to wipe the excess oil off, and I'm going to give it a pinch to grow an inch, a little spray with my clipper side. Okie dokie. All right, my dudes. We have two beautiful pieces of machinery here. I hope that this tutorial was helpful. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you know where to holler at your girl. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.